reaching out to a man like Gabriel.
Him and one up here, one down there. One day a Cooper, one day a Rima. One she's a lawyer, one she's a doctor. One way to work with a little contractor. One on the east, one on the west. One up north and two down south. One a sell cigarette, one the roundabout. Lord, you man, you too girly, girly.
Welcome to episode 141 of the Corey Shepherd podcast. Welcome back to everybody who's been listening. Welcome to all the new listeners. You know where to find it and you know how to share it, right?
Girly, girly. You just a flash from the world.
If you didn't see the Gabriel videos, you're wrong.
The man wanna go to school, one go on fool. One way every time say she think that she rule. One she's a nurse, and she come first. The other night them going out, them pick her new first. One a sell star, one work in a bar. And she can't smile when the two of them a spar. One getty, one fretty, and him not drink no other milk. But Betty, you too girly, girly. From the world, young man, you too girly, girly.
Oh, a little long weekend was. It was a long weekend. You know, little one holiday turned into a long weekend for us in this country. Happy Indian Arrival Day to everybody in Trinidad and Tobago. And all my East Indian brothers and sisters celebrating. Trinidad is a place where everybody celebrates everything, you know. In class sometimes, right, we have a pestle to do. I'll get into the episode soon, right? You know, I'll talk a little bit. The other thing is do call a pestle analysis, right? Where you're supposed to look at the macro environment, political, economic, social, or sociological, technological, economic, or environmental and legal. Something so. I hope nobody from class listens. I can't remember anything. But when it comes to the social part and we're analyzing social issues in Trinidad and Tobago, sociological issues, one of these things I tell classes all the time is that we are very celebratory people. We like to celebrate. Whoever having a holiday, we in that. We don't, you know, from a religious, this is not a religious holiday, right? But from a religious standpoint, some of these holidays we don't celebrate by religion. There's not my religion, so I don't celebrate that. But ask them to go to work now. Then go in a place. Once you have a holiday, we go. And a matter of fact, once you have a holiday, we have a tendency to take two. But I hope everybody good. I hope everybody enjoy the weekend. I hope everybody enjoy the Indian Arrival Day. I hope you fill up your belly with curry. You know, we like to cook anything, have a holiday that have anything to do with Indian people in Trinidad and Tobago. We like to fill up your belly with curry. You know what I mean? So I hope the curry up in you and you wake up to go to work. This is Wednesday now. You could have played the fool with the Monday morning. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, sorry, it's Tuesday. The podcast comes out every Tuesday, right? But for this week, Wednesday, it's a holiday. So I know you're going to play the fool of the Monday. I know all you put in all your sick leave, all your casual, all your bereavement. You put in, what's the next thing name? Mental health day, all kind of these things you could do now in these modern times. I know all you done put in all that. So now it's time to go back to work, right? As we both say, party done. Time to get back out to work. Time to get back to work. So I hope everybody had a good week and a good weekend. I had an interesting weekend, as I told you last week. I was back on the cutting board. Back on the cutting board. Back in Sinclair on Friday morning to do almost exactly a year from the date to do more surgery again. It's the greatest I've ever seen. Boy, let me tell you something. I regret. When that little one run I make to try and score and I run off the ball. And this is the reasons why I don't run off the ball. Give me the ball where I am. So the one injury I get my Achilles rupture last year, if you didn't know. And I do surgery for that. And I went Friday because it seemed as though I have a reaction to the screw that was used to anchor back the Achilles to the bone. Let me tell you something. A surgeon is a brutal man. A surgeon could kill you. Yes, but we went to salute to my guys, Dr. Sergey Adonin, and everybody else in Sinclair who take good care of me Friday morning. I went in early with Dr. Stacy by my side. You know what I mean? Dr. Stacy don't ever leave my side. She ride giving doctoral advice and so on. But surgery went well. Squall screws was removed. That is the end of that. I stitch up and thing now. I stitch up and bandage up. Let me tell you something. I wear a bandage on my foot from last year May all the way to about September. You know? May, June, July, August, September. And let me tell you, the amount of people who I like to get talk in this life. You see why when you get people old talk and fatigue and things come back to bite you, know. I just be on the field playing football with men, and as your touches off, I just tell men they are so foot. The amount of man I tell I are so foot now. I ended up with a bandage on my foot for 6 months last year. And I just hoping that everything goes smooth right now. I don't end up with 6 months worth of bandage again. I never see so much of gauze and so much of medical tape and all these kinds of things. And you know, with medical tape and medical issues, and any medical issue that's visible to other people, like a bandage on your foot, right? What you will get from Trinidad and Tobago, with the greatest of concern, is a lot of advice. Everybody going to advise you and tell you, you should do this. Why don't try that? Why don't go and put on this? You know what I mean? Put one hole on your foot. You get some hot up, some soft candle. And you know what I mean? Get all different kind of things people go and tell you. And I, as a man, feel very uncomfortable. I like to listen. I using to loosely listen to the surgeon. And what he say to do, I just try my best and stick to that. My only two doctors is Dr. Adonin and Dr. Stacy. So 1, 2 of them conquer, I end that. So let me see how it go. En route. And back to, boy, listen, I thought I would never see Sinclair again. So I went back. And it was in and out. I didn't tell all about the surgery, you know. Because I as a man afraid that surgery thing. I don't know about you and how you comfortable, if you comfortable doing it. There are some people who could be awake during surgery and watch surgery happen on them and stuff. I am not that person, unfortunately. So I went in that room very scared, and I make sure and tell him, boy, listen, we talk about a course of action, right? Which he's always be very clear and go through everything with me as to what he wants to attempt to do, which I appreciate. But after all that was said, my only question, he said, you have any questions? I was like, yeah, what are you doing to put me to sleep? Because this is local anesthetic, eh? It's not general. So I am up during this surgery. My foot cuts in and I am present. And the anesthetic they use is an injection behind your knee, almost like behind your knee basically. And it feel like if they're injecting in your bone. It feel like they're injecting in kneecap from your back. Paid when I tell you the last time. So I'm frightened and I ain't looking forward to this thing. They wheel me over and they wheel pretty early, right? But they wheel me over in the surgical ward now and I'm waiting. I'm trying to see who is the anesthetician now. What is it called? Anesthesiologist? Anesthetician? Who it is? I'm waiting for the anesthesiologist to reach to see who they is so I could threaten them a little bit and tell them, try not to make that so painful. And the first thing I noticed is the pair IV in my hand, which I've never had an IV placed in my hand before. So I'm trying to remember now, did they do this in the last procedure or not? Because to me, they do the anesthetic and all that, and then they give me a tablet to take, right? And I was a little better after that. As a matter of fact, that tablet knocked me clean out, right? But this time, the pair IV, and I was wondering, well, what is happening? And he gave me I see the IV in my hand and then they tell me turn over. When they tell me turn over, I know it's anesthetic. The next thing I need to understand, why it is you had to do surgery and foot you had to be naked as you're born? A doctor could help me understand that. Who, have any doctors listening? Any doctors in the house? Why are they naked so under this gong? If it's foot surgery, what's going on? What's going on when I fall asleep in there? But anyway, they tell me turn wrong and thing. And just as before I could try to brace myself for the pain, I see he come with that big syringe and connect it to the IV line now. And a big syringe, and the syringe has some liquid in it, clear liquid. And he Lego bought a quarter tank in my hand. Lego bought a quarter tank. And let me tell you something. As that quarter tank going in, the world starts to become a better place immediately. The world starts to become great. I start to feel very comfortable. I start to feel good immediately. To the point where I barely feel the injection. It was a little painful, but nothing compared to what I remember the last time. And I was like, wait, maybe I was overly afraid the last time, so that's why it was so painful. And I'll tell you, the day before the surgery, I went by the spa. I do massage, I do manicure, pedicure. I went to do all kind of things to try and keep myself calm and keep my mind good. And I tell myself, well, maybe it's a massage. You want to loosen out my muscles on them, so you know what I mean. The thing went in easy. I pause. So that injection was much better than I thought. But I feel is the little quarter tanky Lego, and then by the time they started wheel me into surgery now, Lego a next half tank. He said, well, we have a good bit of this, you know, so Lego a half tank again. And I'll tell you this, I was up through the whole procedure. I tried my best to sleep. My head was down. I do everything I do this last time, and this time I couldn't sleep. I hear the whole conversation. I hear when they find the screw, he take it out. He said the screw's supposed to be absorbable, but this part ain't absorbable. And they talk through the whole surgery. About 4 or 5 people in the room, and they talking. And when them laugh, I laughing. I say, but what the hell is this? So I'm telling you all that to tell you, if you have insurance, right? Because me know how expensive this thing is, right? But if you have insurance and you have a wife, what you should probably do is go and visit Dr. Adonin and see if you could get an IV in your hand to carry home. See if you could get one to carry home. If you have a wife and thing, you know what I mean? You have a wife, you like wife? Or if you have as much wife as my guy Gabriel, see if you could get IV to carry home and see if you could get some of them syringe. So just before you reach in, if you know you ain't wash the wares, you ain't clean up after the dog, you think the place messy, whatever the situation is, or you're home and you ain't do nothing for the day and you reach home and you tell you take all this out of the freezer and see about that thing. And from the time you hear the car pulling up, let go a quarter tank of gas in yourself. So when they start, you know, they once they start, you don't have your quarter tank in here and the world is a good place. Just my little advice and my plug for Dr. Adnan. But the surgery went well, and you know, all the guys talk too much about business, way too much about business here apparently. So I will keep you all updated on what is going on. But what is happening in the country? What going on now here? What's the situation in the country today? I have a list of topics in front of me. And some of them are again back to it because I realized over the last few episodes, I talk so much that I forget some topics. If you don't know who is Gabriel, right? Gabriel is a youth man who is living his best life, you know what I mean? A lot of pornographic videos. I want to say, you know, they have porn leaks, right? That sometimes it look like a boyfriend and girlfriend or man and woman or husband and wife, and they make the little video and a little vice and spice, so they make the little video and the video went out. And then it become it's a shameful thing, you know what I mean? You will feel a way. Nobody would like that for themselves and nobody don't want that out there. And I want to put it categorically that the revenge porn thing is something I stand firmly against. I find it such a nice thing if a woman's in a little video for you. How hard it is to get a woman in a video for you. Get a little video and think, what going on with you? Or you can leak that woman thing. I don't stand for that. And I'm from the generation where I'm from the Nokia and the old Big Ericsson and StarTAC generation. So it would be hard for me to get anything moving viral anyway. So it's just not my thing. But this youth man Gabriel seems to be deliberately making videos. He looking like he making videos for sale. This is this isn't looking like a coincidence, but it is a plethora. What was the best word to find for a lot? What was the best synonym, you know, for a lot is a lot. And I must take a little quick glimpse at one video and I say, boy, listen, to be young in these times cannot be easy. These youths and them living a kind of life, and of course it had to be followed by a sort of social media. He like a little drama too, you know, because he crying on his social media. But the most unfortunate part was the original rumor said he had HIV, and then of course everybody could be in a scare because your videos out there now you're hearing this man had HIV. But he quickly cleared it up and showed a negative test online. You know how that could go, right? But hopefully everybody's safe and everybody good. But I wonder if people remember Skelly back in the day. Like, I wonder if this ain't nothing to laugh at. But, you know, I know people who they say was it Skelly and all of them living. Is that a sign to say that the Skelly thing was fake too? It's just a nano-viral moment where Skelly could have showed you the picture of his negative or non-reactive test syndrome where everybody who I know was it Skelly living. So to everybody, when you're young, it's time to enjoy your life. Yes, it's time to enjoy your life. So Gabriel, I will live any best life and thing. Just clearing that up for you if you didn't know who is Gabriel. But on the topic of young people, I see a few stories come out about young people this weekend. I'm starting to realize that the older you get, right, or the older I get, is the older people you call young now. Because somebody tell me the other day, nah, he's about 37. I say, oh, young. When you get older, all kind of ages start to get younger. But when I say young now, this age of 21, something happening around 21 that I not understand, right? I want to start with the bank story. The Guardian reporting from Chester Sombrano that the bank employee is charged with over 60,000 removed from customers' account. Now, I wonder if when only charge employees for this and employees money moved from my account, if I get compensated for that. So for instance, if the whole 60,000 had come from my account, my little few days interest or few years interest according to how long will it take this to find this person, will they crediting me back the interest and only settling with me for something because that is emotional distress and think if I lost 60,000 I went through a lot of feeling like if that affected my chances of my foot healing, I taking on stress and all these things, you understand? So I trying to figure out what does the bank do in situations like these, because I vividly remember earlier this year, a man who money went to his account wrongfully. If I'm not mistaken, it's a couple of $1 million or hundreds of thousands. And he spent out some money. And the story was that man make a jail, that man get charged for larceny when money went into his account. So when only have employees, because listen, if you are a bank, and you have an employee, that employee is an agent acting on your behalf. Or song, right or wrong? that person acting on your behalf. I know that you can't be responsible for everything that your employee does, but if it hurt me and it damaged me, and I had to take you to court, I can't take the employee to court. You know, them don't spend that 60,000. You know what I mean? I looking to take the bank to court, and if you take 60 from my account, I must be able to say, you know, emotional damage. That's about 2.5 million on top of my 60 there already. Our inability to heal like 14 million. The amount of goals this have. How much Haaland scored this season? Where's Haaland's salary? I should be compensated for every week. If Haaland and them is $500,000 a week pounds, I supposed to get that for the time. But let me hear what Chester had to say about this. A 21-year-old bank employee charged with 2 counts of last, and he was granted bail in the sum of 100,000. According to TTPS, the charges were laid after extensive investigation was conducted into unauthorized transactions on the accounts of 2 customers at a major commercial bank. You know, this is the bank and thing, right? TTPS said Adrian Thomas of Princeton was arrested on Thursday, May 18th, and formally charged the following day on 19th of May 2023. So wait, I'm missing something in these articles here, because was there a follow-up article on this where they tell us who's the bank, or they just put this youth man name out there? According to police reports on Tuesday, 16th of May 2023, a customer reported to the bank that he observed several unauthorized online transactions on his savings account that he never set up, activated, or authorized to anyone to make on his behalf. So they just target somebody. Checks were made, and 49 of those transactions. Ooh, that man takes small money at a time. Listen, you when you're young, is a hell of a thing. I'm not condoning the robbery of banks and so on, right? But banks is not a rob incrementally. You know, this man take $1,200 at a time. Checks were made, and 49 transactions totaling $63,765 were allegedly discovered on the customer's account during the period June 12th to May 15th. Further checks were made on 6 similar online transactions totaling $2,090. 6 transactions totaling $2,090. This man taking $300 at a time and thing. Who also allegedly discovered on another customer's account. Look, you deserve your jail. Police said this customer also denied having set up, activated, or authorized anybody to make these things on his behalf. And investigation still going on to these sums of 63,000. And so this man just wanted a little incremental increase. You know. This bank had no little wage negotiations and things. If they give this man a little $300-400 a month, it could save everybody, you know. But I want to know if the policy is that the banks don't, the bank name not published, so they just say a commercial or financial institution, and they don't say what company it is, but they could say who the employee is. Let me see, financial institution, Trinidad, 21-year-old. Let me see if it's coming up anyway, because this tends to be, all I see coming up here is Marcos. This seems to be a general trend in banking. Like I remember back in the day, before the internet and before all these things, right? They never used to publish articles at all about people stealing from the bank. So bank employees stealing from the bank, nothing used to come out. The person used to get fired. They never used to get charged or anything. They used to try to sweep that under the carpet. As a matter of fact, I know of somebody personally who was accused of robbing the bank and so on. You know what I mean? And they living good right now. They're good. They're in these streets. Big shots and so on, you know what I mean? Living good in these streets, and they don't know. I mean, nobody would be any the wiser unless he was wrong in that time and that person was accused of that. And I don't know if they do it or not, but I could tell you that they no longer worked at the bank, and then they went on to have successful businesses and so on in these streets. You know what I mean? It's great. You know, who don't want a little startup capital? But the fact that they let it be known that this guy, I understand the ramifications from the standpoint of a run on the bank, right? Or lack of security or perceived security. If people perceive that the money not secure in the bank, you could in theory you could get a run on the bank, right? Which I mean, they have so much safeguards against that these days that I wonder about them things they used to teach us in school in theory, because there's no commercial bank that you could go in and withdraw all your money one time. If you have, let me not say that, right? If you have $500 in the bank, you will get, right? Let me not cause a panic. But if you have large sums of money, you have 100 grand in the bank, you go one day and you tell them you want it in cash, you're not getting that, you know. I very much doubt that the bank will give you 100,000 in cash. They may tell you, here what, come back next week or come back tomorrow, or you could get 5,000 now, and if you get, and then they tell you about a certified check and a manager's this, and they like to try all kind of things. They're not gonna give you back your money. So I don't know if a run on the bank is as much a threat as it would have been back in the day. And then with so much of transactions being digitized, I will say it's relatively easy. If I had 70,000 in my account and I wake up and I see 10 and I report this and had a discrepancy, knowing the bank, it would take 6 weeks to investigate. But whenever they done investigate, you will just see your bank go back to 70. And we, at this era, I mean, people like me who are slow on the internet still, I see my bank balance back at 70. I say, nice, the bank reimbursed me my money. What's again if they give me my 2.5 million compensation for emotional damage and them thing, right? Most of us, you see a bank balance. It happened to Usain Bolt recently. You watching a set of bank balance there and you feel you're doing good, or his financial advisors. And the men fleece you, men go on with your money and everything. So it makes me wonder, like, if it's still such a threat. The idea of a run on a bank, or people, I forget the word I'm looking for, the word I'm looking for, like, a certain amount of instability or lack of belief in a bank. Or they go help me with that. There's a term for it. Confidence. So if people, if people lose confidence in the financial institution, they could want their money back, and the bank don't have enough money to give you back all the thing, right? The bank take your money and put a certain percentage of it in assets, and you're not guaranteed to get back any money from your bank. A small amount of your money is guaranteed to get back from your bank. And that's the crux of the matter here for me is, comes down to this. It's not about thieving. It's not about calling people's names. It's not about securing the bank confidence or whatever. It's about the 21-year-old thing, right? It's about the 21-year-old thing. I want to ask a question, right? Should 21-year-olds be working in banks? So let's stay with me for a minute, right? At 21 years old, you got to prove to me that your judgment sound, you have a long-term kind of thinking, because a lot of youths, particularly in this era, right? And I working since I was 16, 17, and one of my first jobs, I talked about it last week, was in a credit union. Now, I don't know what to do in a credit union. So, a matter of fact, I work in a credit union, I never see cash. So say I go thief cash, right? And I don't know if it was as digital as, it probably wasn't as digital as it is now, where I could say, all right, let me just move a set of funds here from this account and put it in this account and bolster up my thing $200 at a time, right? I'll also say that at 21, your judgment's so poor that you might think $1,200 at a time is a lot of money. You might also think $60,000 is a lot of money. Neither of which is true in the greater scheme of things, right? If you go, I mean, from the situation we see the other day, if you're $1,200, that's only 6 dates. That's 6 dates. You can't go nowhere. So there's not a lot of money. You go and rob the bank. If it's Bonnie and Clyde thing, you have to retirement rob the bank. Don't say I say that, right? But I mean, this idea that you could take these little portions of money and so on. And I'm not saying that the average 21-year-old dishonest and shouldn't get a job in a financial institution. I'm just saying that at 21, your level of judgment, it's poorer than it would be when you're about 26, 27, when you're 30 and them things. And I understand that it will affect the job markets and people's ability to work and them kind of thing. But I don't know. I'm frightened for young people so going into these places, because their judgment poor. Think of this, right? Forget dishonesty. Think about confidentiality. If you have a 21-year-old bank teller, a young guy, and you go in the bank and you have a couple $100,000, you live in your life normally, you have a couple $100,000, you have a big credit card, you have several different things going on in life. You know where you have that money saved there for you going for a down payment on your house. The young people now is the kind of people who will work in the bank, and then when they go home with their friends now and they WhatsApp, they say, that man a real money, you have money. I mean, when in fact, this is not the case. I just questioning the poor judgment of people who too young. And maybe it's not to tell them how work in bank or work in certain jobs, because think about it, right? You're not hiring no 21-year-old lawyer. No, you're not going for surgery by no 21-year-old doctor. Well, not me and Doogie Howser thing. You're not going by, you're not going to get nobody accountant or no personal finance manager at 21. We personally will not hire people who under a certain age to do certain jobs because we're frightened. Lack of experience. Just life experience, not just job or work-related experience. the bigger picture, you make no sort of churn yet. Your responsibility, your commitment, all those things. I worry. I don't have the solution, right? I'm just asking a question. Like at 21 years old. Let me further say why I questioning this, right? Newsday from middle of May. Woman still in custody for Westmoreland's home invasion. A 20-year-old woman held in connection with a home invasion in the Westmoreland's house where she worked as a caretaker remained in custody up to Friday afternoon. If you're living in Westmoreland and you're doing good in life, you have a house in Westmoreland, you have a caretaker who work in the... What you hiring a 20-year-old young girl to be your home care... Okay, sorry. Now that I say it out loud, I understand. Okay. Why are you hiring a 20-year-old little girl, a young lady, to be your caretaker of your house? If I want a caretaker and I living in Westmore, and you know the funny thing is, living in Westmoreland doesn't necessarily mean you're having, but it means that people feel you're having because you live in Westmoreland. Why would I hire a young 20-year-old? It's the same thing, poor judgment, short-sightedness. You know what I mean? The seeing money and feeling like that is a whole lot of money because I can tell you that at 20, maybe a little younger for me, like 16, 17, 18, I was measuring financial success by number of Jordans. How much Jordan you could buy? If the first time I hear my salary is $4,000, I say that is about 3.5 Jordan. In a month, I could be at 7 Jordan. If you give me 3 months worth of work, I have a Jordan for every month of the year. I'm measuring my success and my well-being and thing in J's and Calcanai jeans and cross colors and these things. You understand? I don't know if I see average 20-year-old, right? Because when I figure out that somebody would pay me to work for them and never stop working from that day till now. All now are looking for work. I have a new work I have to tell all about. I have a new work. But I'm looking for work right through. Hi, man. Look for me. What you need is old people like myself. You know what I mean? You only will hear me some episodes from now. I guarantee you this, right? As much as I'm talking about these young people now, you're going to come back and hear me hypocritically say that old people don't retire and they need to give young people a chance, right? Just wait for it. You know that time coming back around, right? But moving on in this article. Police said she's considered a person of interest in the investigation. Police said bandits in a Nissan Tiida broke into Regents Drive, Westmoreland on Wednesday. On Wednesday morning and told security they came to deliver flowers to a particular house. The owner of the house was not home, but the caretaker gives security the permission to allow the men to enter to deliver the flowers. Security must be about 13. The bandits drove to the house where they opened the main gate before she was overpowered and tied up. The caretaker, right? So the caretaker get overpowered and tied up. The bandits stole a safe containing 10,000 TT, 3,000 US, Canadian 1,000 before driving off. Now, I hate to be sung elitist. Don't tell me 1% thing, but I mean, everybody must agree with me when I say this is not a lot of money. When I say not a lot of money, I would love to have 10,000 TT, 3,000 US, and 1,000 Canadian right now. But I will say that money is not enough for me to risk my reputation, first and foremost, my life. But it is not worth nothing. That is not no money. And I also feel like if I like to work, I like to figure out a way to get money. And in this, what we call in the gig economy now, right? Where you have several ways you could make money. You could do things on the side. I talk about a few of them over the course of the podcast. These youths and them have it figured out. Is that thing you could do to make money? $10,000. Anyway, but US had to guess, so maybe the 3,000 out of. The woman freed herself and called the police. Western Division Task Force police visited the scene, questioned the caretaker, and arrested her. You know, there's the kind of thing you see in them Facebook stories. No, you notice them Facebook stories always have a thing. This woman freed the police. She made the thing and she was robbed and beaten, but the police arrested her. You've cracked the code, you know? Sources said both Western Division they were going to investigate the robbery. Police said at least 4 people were in custody for the robbery up to Friday evening, but maintained that others were being sought. So you understand the issues with younger people. I'm not against no young people having no opportunity. I think we should create opportunities, make space for youths. Maybe the solution is to do better screening so they understand that you have a 20-year-old. Not all 20-year-olds is the same. So if you know you have somebody with the right parenting, predisposition, whatever the things might be, ambition, so they themselves worried about their reputation and they're seeing themselves as greater than 10,000 TT and 3,000 US and stuff in terms of their opportunities. then we onto something, because this is not it. And I don't know. I wondering if I was thinking through this discussion on this topic, and I'm wondering if I seeing this wrong, I going mad because I hate to come and say youth's not supposed to be working no damn boy at 21 years old. We had to raise the legal age, but it making me wonder. I'm hoping that I ain't talking into the breeze and somebody in Trinidad seeing what it is I see in here. And to top it all off, right? There's a popular social media, what you want to call him, an influencer, a business leader. I'm not sure exactly what to call him, right? He's a lot of different things, right? And none of these things are identifiable. It's very, very difficult to identify what he does, right? But his name is Marcos. And if you look for Marcos, Marcos is Markos, right? Marcos has a good bit of videos on YouTube, and he has a strong social media presence and so on. And you might have seen him many times giving away money for several different initiatives. Like you see him outside Trinity Mall, and he would pretend to be begging for money, like $100. And if somebody give him a money or $20 or something, he say, no, this was just a social experiment, and I want to give you $1,000 today. And of course, some people get emotional and stuff about it, because who don't like a little grand, you know? I mean, if I go up to somebody and I tell them I help somebody out. And some people, in fairness, too, say, nah, pay it forward, I good, you know? I mean, give somebody it, somebody who might need it more. And so they see a lot of that, right? And I didn't pay it any mind, because that's just more TikTok kind of things to me, right? That's just is what it is. It just happened, right? But lo and behold, they start to see him appear more and more and gain in popularity. And then the amounts that he given away gain in popularity as well. They start to become more and more popular, right? They start to become more and more grandiose. Fast forward to today, right? Marcos is offering $1 million as a reward. No more $1,000 outside Trinity until you could win $1 million. So it's in your best interest to go and follow Marcos, right? And find out where he will be next time, because, you know what I mean, is who don't want a little mill, right? So you ain't got to rob no bank or nothing. You just have to find Marcos, and Marcos could hook you up with $1 million. So the $1 million taken in the form of 10 scholarships worth $100,000 each. And I mean, a little bit of reading and listening to watching his videos and so on is telling me that some of the things unclear, right? But it seems as though the 100,000 is a scholarship back to his institution, right? What is his institution? I don't know if it's 100,000 cash, but it's his scholarship, right? Oh no, sorry. The people who come to his course could qualify to win $100,000. So you get any money in cash, right? It's not a scholarship. And of course, that is going to make a lot of people sign up to his course, right? Because I don't all want to sign up. When I see I had to find a 20-year-old friend and go and pretend I'm going to a place and tie them up and all these, I find there's a lot of work to get myself $100,000. So I rather just try and, you know, if I could just go by Marcos and get this thing, we good to go. No. I was looking and trying to figure out what Marcos do, because Marcos is a young black fella, and again, I don't want to come across like I fighting youth by trying to figure out what Marcos do, because Marcos is driving very sweet, a couple of BMWs, little Porsche, little Range Rover, and so on. You know what I mean? Driving sweet. I never set foot in none of these kind of vehicles in my life. So I trying to see, well, what does this man do, to see if I could do a little bit of that. You know what I mean? If I could do a little bit of that, I feel like good to go. I started studying now. Should I like give podcast listeners a grana, man? What do you think? If I could make a little 21-year-old friend who could take a 60,000 out of the bank, I could get a grana, man, to the podcast, you know, until people just listen, and everybody will get a grand until I reach 100 grand. But the lifestyle and thing, I say, well, and other people were speculating as to what it is he doing as well. So I look at a video, he say he clearing up what he's doing stuff, and this is what he said he did, right? In a very, very nonchalant, vague description, he said that he learned how to do content management and social media management and digital marketing. Coincidentally, I have a course in digital marketing going on now, right? I have about 50 students in a digital marketing course. Digital economy or digital business. And we're talking about these issues, so I'm hoping that all 50 of them could become multi-millionaires by the end of the course, right? But if you ever try to sell one of something, if you ever try to go into business for yourself or sell anything to anybody, you are going to know how hard it is to sell one of something, right? I want to tell you about a new job I get before I get back to Marcus, right? Coincidentally, Marcus also gave his mother a brand new RX car for Mother's Day. Me know how much for RX. And then he gave partner, some kind of sports car as well. This is beyond the, what the sports car was he gave partner? Some kind of Integra? Me don't know, more car, you know. Nissan, right? And there's the lifestyle he living on, there's the way he rolling. There's on top of buying brand new Range Rovers and BMWs and Porsches and so on, right? And notice I say Porsches, right? Or Porsches. I tell you about a new job I get recently. I want to salute to the people at the Goodness Exchange and the Conspiracy of Goodness podcast, right? I am now the producer of the Conspiracy of Goodness podcast. So you should go over to the Conspiracy of Goodness, subscribe to that, listen to it and so on. This is the Marcos route we're taking, right? But I'll tell you how I get this job. I'm on a site called Upwork, and I realized over the years that I got some requests. Salute to the Brooklyn Caribbean Literary Festival, Marshall Messiah. Salute to them who reach out to me and ask me to manage their podcast, and which I've been doing for a little more than a year now, I believe. And they basically are Caribbean authors who read excerpts from this story. Go and subscribe and take it in, right? Good work. And I realized, wait, now there's another little skill I have here. There's a little skill I developed, so I could figure out how to monetize this skill and monetize the next little hour of my time. So I went on Upwork and I put myself down as a podcast producer. At that time, I was producing and performing my podcast. I was producing the Birdie and Barney podcast, Salute Lasana Liebert and Wayne Shepherd, and producing the BCLF Cocoa podcast, right? So I said, well, all right, I have a little experience under my belt. I know what I'm doing. I'm confident enough to talk to people about it and so on. And I will tell you this. When I first started doing those two podcasts, I make fatal mistakes. I remember the first episode I edit for Marsha and them. I had the episode down tight. It take me hours to finish the episode. And then when I publish it, Marsha called and said, Corey, something wrong. Just laughing randomly with anything. It's because I cut up the track so much and move something me ain't supposed to move. So I move an answer from a question, and she just cut her track completely off. I had to pull it down, fix it quick, and think, thank God this still had the confidence in me to continue with me to do it. Birdie and Barney Lasana and them used to come down here and record high-profile guests. They had Shaka, Michael Holden, Atto Bolden, Latter P. They have several high-profile guests coming on. One day, they record and they leave all the files. They used to come here and record. All the files was here. Boom, when I come to edit the thing, I lost the people files, lost a whole episode. I feel like it's the worst. Lasana called me and he said, Corey, what do we have to do? You know when your boss call you and ask you questions? Or your mother or your wife or one of them, and you had no answer for it, you just had to take your dress down. Lasana, cool and calm, he never really get vexed, he didn't say nothing, but I think to get vexed. I said, Lasana, we could reach back out to them and do it again. And Lasana said, nah, I ain't doing that. And then he called and say, what we have to do to make sure that this never happens again? But when you get dressed down, you have to take your dress down, you know. But fast forward to today, I'm confident in what I'm doing. I have a little bit more ability. I'm moving a little faster with the work and so on. So I started applying for jobs. And I met Dr. Linda Ulrich, must be more than a year ago via Upwork. She said, well, you know, they look at my work, they like what I do and stuff. And I interview with her. And typically, like for any other interview, I listen to the podcast, I hear what they were doing. I was trying to figure out like why they want somebody else, because their podcast was consistent and sounding good and everything. I usually assume, maybe it's because of how I get work before, I usually assume that people reaching out to me because they have some problem with how, that's an existing podcast, right? People reaching out to me because they have some problem with how it's working now, so they want somebody to manage it for them. So I was curious as to figure out, okay, I understand what y'all doing. Y'all look like you have a pretty high profile, the Goodness Exchange. The idea of the podcast is a conspiracy of goodness, meaning there's not enough good news in it. There's so much bad news in the world and heavy news basically that the good news not getting a chance to rise to the top. So through our organization, they decided that they're going to put out good stories every week for people to listen to. They don't just put out a podcast. They have several articles written out. They're designed to highlight good news, and they have several statistics published about what the benefits of ingesting good news for your system on a daily basis, notice that I myself had to be talking down. Did I say talking? I had to be talking down back in the day from trying to talk about crime every single week because it started heavy me down. And I'm sure it heavy all you down too. I couldn't, I mean, I rather talk about culture and music and things that I find uplifting. And if I had to talk about politics or news, it had to be something towards betterment. So it ended up being a good alignment because when I saw the podcast and what they were doing, I kind of like the idea of a goodness exchange. I never thought of anything like that. And more so the name a conspiracy of goodness and just basically putting good stories out there. So salute to them for the work that they're doing. And I went on the interview. The interview went well. I was surprised at how prepared she was because she had clearly listened to some of my episodes. That was when I had done the surgery last year. So we connect a little bit because she had some history with surgery like that as well. So we spoke and we connect over that and all that, right? And I find it was interesting that she would have taken the time to listen to my podcast. You know, I always wonder, like, how interesting is this to people who are non-Trinidadian, who are non-Caribbean? Could this be international? Or am I am I like a truck on the road, which means something here, Carnival Monday and Tuesday, but would mean something totally different in Germany? I always wonder about that. And she genuinely listened because she said, I like the angles you take and I like the music you play and the cultural. I was like, okay, this woman very prepared. This is not a person asking me to do this. It's clearly an organization. And the interview was successful. I got through and she said, yes, we want to work with you and we like your work and everything. And then they sent my email in the following week. They said, here, what's going on? We decided that we have a person who we're working with. We're going to work with them and so on and try to make it work, you know? I was like, all right, cool. I said, listen, anytime I always hear, you could always reach back out to me. Let me tell you something. In this life, beyond everything else, be nice to people, be cool with people. Be cool with people. I don't like to give advice and tell people what to do here, but just be cool with people. Be nice. Be a nice person to be around. Be a nice person to deal with. You ain't gonna always get through, but you will always get through. So I continue to listen to the podcast and all that, and I fade away after a while, and I say, all right, that opportunity gone, but I will keep striving and keep bidding for jobs, and I bid, nothing happening. Fast forward to a year, talking about a month ago or so, I see an email from Dr. Linda again. Listen, we want to give this thing a second run and see if it will work and all those things, right? I say, all right, well, no problem. I hear, you know what I mean? Just let me know. Let's discuss it and everything. We discuss it again. She said, all right, we want to move forward with it. I say, cool. Next week, I get an email again saying, listen, we decided to give our person one more chance. I was like, listen, don't worry about it. I hear if you have any issues, anything, just let me know. And in that email, I also said, but what we should probably do is maybe just send me one of your episodes. You know what I mean? Send me a raw episode. Let me do it so that I could see if I'm a good fit too. I don't want to say I could do this work and thing. Next thing you send me the thing and I fumble in the ball. Maybe I should give you an example so both of us could come back together and discuss it. She said, great idea. I get the sample, do the sample, get the work. So I'm the producer of the podcast now, right? Now I'll tell you that long story. Go and subscribe to it, right? Conspiracy or Goodness Podcast as well as BCLF Cocoa Pod. I'll tell you that long story to say that after 43 years, right? 2 degrees, several short courses, 20 years experience in business, and several more years experience working all kind of different jobs, right? It take me a year to learn a position and 140 something episodes worth of evidence of what I could do. It take me a year from the time I decide I want to be able to earn from producing podcasts. It take me a year to be able to get a job unsolicited. Like I had to go out and get somebody, and it took me a year to get a job. So flashback to your boy Marcos, right? Marcos is 21 years old and say he figured out digital marketing. Not very specific on what exactly he figured out, right? But he figured out digital marketing. So he digital market some things and he make a couple thousand US here and there. Now, there's a big gap. I was just taking how long it took me to tell my story about somebody where I interviewed, get a job twice. It wasn't working out, and the back and forth I had to do to get there. So unless there's a windfall coming my way after doing this, which I doubt, I'm not sure how you get from zero to thousands of dollars from clients. And then he simply say, well, what I do is I went to my clients and I tell them, here what, instead of paying my monthly, just give me an annual figure. So I was able to get annual subscriptions. I don't know if that means your money increasing like that, because I know that if I charging you $500 a month to produce your podcast, and I tell you, listen, give me an annual fee, I could tell you that the annual fee has to be less than $6,000 for anybody to agree with that, right? So, I mean, you do the maths, right? You can't charge them more just because it's an annual fee. You charge them more, but that's what my boy said. He started to bill his clientele and all those things. He does not say who is his clientele, how he build the clientele, what work he do. He does not talk about how much times he get rejected and how much times the people say yes, but the yes turns into a no, and how much times you start to do it and you make some money, but your client didn't take you on no more. He had the breeziest journey in business that I have ever heard. I want you to talk to anybody who ever run a shop. Talk to somebody who run a parlor. Talk to somebody who sells things on Instagram. Anybody will tell you about the ups and downs and the emotional ride that business is. I'll always remember my father gave me a book to read called Fired Up. One of the best descriptions of the ups and downs of business. But Marcos seems to have had a very early ride. You know what is the common denominator is, you know, all these people, the bank robber, the house robber, and Marcos. Marcos about 21 too. So, 100,000 a prize for 10 people in his course. His course costs $2,000. I don't know if it's $2,000 a month or if it's $2,000, but the enrollment is $2,000. In the greatest of Fire Festival documentaries, I would imagine that there are add-ons and so on, because this is clearly a smart businessman. So if you have a subscription model where people paying you $2,000, I'm pretty sure you have add-ons in there that will say, you come to the course and we discuss certain things, but if you want one-on-one time, that could cost you an extra $350. That there will be add-ons, but base fee is $2,000, right? I want to tell you that 1 million divided by 2,000 is about 500 people. Let me ask you this. If you promise to give away $1 million, 100 grand at a time to 10 people, do you think you could get 500 people to join? A matter of fact, I am giving away 100. Let me see if I can get my podcast to about 500 listeners a week, right? I am giving away 100 grand a man if people enroll and subscribe to my pod. But wait. No, I can't do that because you don't pay me. I'll listen for free. I'll listen for free every week and tell me how much I really like it. I'm really enjoying it. I have to do surgery and come back here and talk because I love it. And free. You know what I mean? The best price ever in the world. So I can't give away the 100 grand, right? But maybe I will start with 100 and see if I could build up Marco's level. But I could tell you that if you promise to give away, and you have proof of giving away a lot of things and being very generous, and is that philanthropic and so on? Or you know what I mean? You give your friend a car, you give your mother a nice car, you're buying cars, you're exposing the fact that you're buying cars and houses and things at 20, 21, 22 years old, all this youth is. The man car is PDH1. You can't go wrong. Brand new Range Rover watching here. 2 Porsche. I like the idea that any youth could figure something out and make some money online and stuff. And I am not doubting Thomas. If you tell me that is how you're figuring out your thing, I like you already. You figure some things out. That is great. But wait, a matter of fact, maybe I should pay the 2,000. The man says success starts here. How to monetize your audience. I like this. Let me see if I can monetize my audience. Man is listening here for free right through and say I go spend my 2,000 by Marcos. But Marcos is, I would assume that Marcos is making a profit on this $1 million that he's giving away. But the moral of the story between the bank robber, the house robber, and the course robber, I mean Marcos, because I see people complaining online and comments being deleted that he don't really say nothing in the course. It's just a vague thing about how he think and how he make money and he good to go and them kind of thing. People believe in these things and people will go and sign up for the people like the Organo Goals of this world and the Amways and the what's the rest of them name? They always have something. Enter that one with some kind of roots or some. They always have something where you could do a pyramid scheme is what you call it. I buy and I bring people to buy and I guarantee you that when you go on his course, you say, well, if you bring 2 people, you could get that coming soon if it's in there already. And people could go and join that if they want. The same thing like DSS, right? If a man decide he wants to put $9,000 to get back $81,000, And he taking 9,000 to do it. I said, go for it. I said, go. You know how much I play where I play? I play money and play with knowing fully well I not getting back. I say, you know how much I card I play rum 32 poker. I put money there knowing you have a very small chance of winning. And I put my money knowing I wanted this small chance to win. So all who put their money in DSS to for the, and still saying prayers and lighting candle, hoping that line 13 come back. Maybe it will. But you free to do that as an adult. Well, I guess they make that against the law now too. But you should be free to do that as an adult. But I just want to stay away from 21-year-olds in general. I don't think it's a good idea to have a 21-year-old house keeper, 21-year-old banker, or 21-year-old course man. It would be hard. I remember my first course I teach. I must be 20-something years. I was a young fellow. I know material and that kind of thing, but when I watch what I could bring to the table now is chalk and cheese compared to back then. But anyway, salute to Marcos, salute to all these people, you know what I mean? Only go and pay only 2,000 by Marcos, do the course and all these nice things and see if you could get through. You might be one of the lucky ones. What lottery is to tell you, okay? If you don't have a ticket, you don't have a chance. At least if it's $2,000 a ticket, what is $2,000? You could take that from somebody's bank account and think, call the next 21-year-old. And the other 20-year-old girl, and only add up all that, and everybody pool the money. As a matter of fact, if you buy more seats in the course, like you still buy more lottery tickets, you know what I mean? Rather than you just buy one book, buy lottery tickets and go in and see if all you could win. But salute to Marcos, salute to all the people who want to hire 21-year-olds. I'll leave that alone, right? If all they say we hiring 21-year-olds, that's what we do. I want to say salute to the great Claude Noel. Now, I want to tell you that I myself might be a little bit like a 21-year-old because all these years I go into Tobago and driving on Claude Noel Hotel, Claude Noel Highway. Never really dawned upon me that Claude Noel was from Tobago, no? To tell you the truth, it's just me. From Walter Albini Guardian, Claude Noel, TNC's world champion boxer, has died. He was 74 years old. He died on Sunday at the Mount Hope Hospital after a lengthy battle with diabetes. Noel began his professional career on November 13, 1973. Fighting in Port of Spain, where he defeated Art de Freitas by second round knockout. After a run of victories, Noel successfully challenged for his first TNT lightweight title. The fight scheduled for 15 rounds was stopped in the 10th round with Noel's opponent Fitzroy Giuseppe unable to continue. However, his crowning moment came in 1981 when he defeated Rodolfo Gonzalez for the WBA title in Atlantic City, New Jersey on points. He became a household name and the highway was named after his native Tobago. Noel's first defense of his title came in November 5, 1981 against American challenger and late replacement Arturo Frias. Frias dominated the fight. Frias only dominated the fight because he was a late replacement. Salute to Claude Noel. And condolences to his family. Another icon in Trinidad. I mean, we are at that age where a lot of the names that we knew as icons, they pass it on, you know what I mean? And we had to run our next leg of the battle. It makes me wonder, like, who's we local boxers? Who we are coming up? Boxing used to be such a popular thing. I mean, like, local. I remember, did Leslie Tiger Stewart fight somebody in the complex, international fight? Let me see if it come up here. Leslie Tiger Stewart complex. I see in Leslie Stewart. Wait. Leslie Tiger Stewart was a man I went primary school with, or he was a boxer? All right, I seen something here. Location, Trinidad Tobago, right. He fight Donnie Lalonde in National Stadium in Port of Spain. He's fought before Dawood Shaw in Tong, Marvin Johnson, Bobby Thomas. Plenty fight down here, man. Mark Frazee. But they had one in particular where he was, people were so upset and they threw down all the national flags on the ground and think, somebody go remind me about this, you know, somebody was wrong in them times, you know what I mean? I was a little child them times, but they also used to talk about this fight where, he fight Virgil Hill? No, but Virgil Hill fight was in, they're saying Virgil Hill fight here was in Trump Plaza in Atlantic City. But there was a fight where he came here and he lost and they threw all the flags on the ground and people was very upset and them kind of thing. And they had a Tiger Lawson, Leslie Stewart. Am I calling the man Tiger? Yeah, right. Known as Tiger. So people was upset at the idea of him going into that fight, big expectations as usual for, we have very little investment in sports, but very big expectations out of sports. And when he lost, people threw down little paper flags. They used to give it away a long time, and people was vexed about the patriotism behind. We throw down the flag and all that. But I'm not sure like how popular boxing is in the first place, and then who is the people who will follow in his footsteps. Well, certainly salute to Claude Noel, and we thank you for your contribution. Not just to the boxing world, but as a Tobagonian in general. And you know what I mean? Tobago has given us so many, I want to say like heroes. Tobago give us some of the greatest calypsonians we ever had. A couple prime ministers, despite what the man say in the States there. Tobago has given us so much as a part of the country. Well, a part of the country for now. We benefit so much from the contributions of Tobagonians. And I want to find for you another Tobagonian who making a market contribution. One of the best Tobagonians we could possibly find right now. And play a little clip for you from what it is he says. So let me get to this.
Even if it is, find the plan, create the plan, the strategy or whatever, bring it here once you get approval.
Right.
Whether it is, you see, at 13 people now.
Right.
You might just need 5 or 7 to do strict PR, so you could use some to do some propaganda. Whether they're going to use fake profiles, whether they're going to use their own profiles, whatever they do. And what we will have to consider is finding a way to employ people on the THA side. Could be menial tasks.
We don't have to pay. Yeah, most of them kind of got away to Chanel, and we found that.
And most of them kind of get employed already.
Yeah. So that's basic. Others who not employed to bring them in because they are happy to do the thing on the side voluntarily. Once we employ them 8 to 4 in a lucrative.
So they get income.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, that is what we know. So we will organize.
And that will help. That will help, even with as I was indicating. With the challenge you raised in terms of how Tobagonians are responding to the moves in Trinidad, that can help in shaping the narrative. Because about shaping the narratives. I don't want us to stop campaigning and then switch it back.
Alright, so that is the voice of somebody who name the accusation here. It is alleged on the best Ian Allen. What I'm saying, Ian Allen? Well, you see Ian Allen is just a train boat, right? And thinking, done with the crime, watch out. It's at a point where all these shooting and all these robbery and things, Ian Allen would definitely be on the scene by. I ain't seen him at all. Anyway, it is alleged that is the voice of somebody who name rhymes with Shmali Shmashtin. So they're saying that is his voice, and he's talking to me and all voices. This is from Uncut News. This is not a credible source, right? As they would say in academic reading and so on. This is not a credible source. But Uncut News Media, our Facebook page with 18,000 followers, published this thing last week, and it all over the place. I seen it in the news and saying that, I mean, this might be him, and what kind of conversation is this? I don't want to make no accusations on nobody because I don't know, but I certainly want to consider why they wouldn't get digital marketing expert Marcos to handle this for them at $2,000, $3,000 in our employers. A man say employ about 5-7 people to do propaganda. React to the news, see if it's fake profiles. Now, let me broaden this conversation away from who they're accusing that of. What's your thoughts? You think political parties in this country making investments directly in voices that could sway what happens on social media and what we see on social media and so on? You'll remember the Cambridge Analytica story, I guess, in that show on Netflix, and well, we found out about it down here at the time, but then we see it on Netflix confirming what we thought for the 2010 election, where Cambridge Analytica was hired to help build a digital campaign. I wonder if Marcos was working there. A digital campaign for UNC to get in power, and a big part of the campaign was to get young PNM voters to not come out and be disenchanted with governance. And the statement was that UNC supporters, they will listen to their parents, and wherever their parents say to vote, they will vote. And social media telling you this with predictive algorithms, I don't think they will be very far from the truth. So I wonder now, how much are political parties investing in they always invested in propaganda machines, right? So in this digital and social era, would it be wise for somebody to make sure that they, as the person saying the recording, shape the narrative by having one voice that goes out to stories. I have said this for a long time, right? That it seems as though political parties have a big WhatsApp group. And when they say, here we're going on, you see the local government election, we ain't calling the election before we get the local government reform and say, all of them come and say, all right, here what we go do. We go big up Faris and we go attack, how they call him. You can say he's the worst. Thought Faris was the worst AG. Well, this man now he's the worst AG. Because the voice, I can tell you, like, from the time you start going through pages that are associated with certain parties, the unanimosity of the voice is something it's impossible to ignore. The message seems to be well tailored, and everybody get a memo saying this is how we will attack. That seems to be the case. And then when they get attacked now, the party in power, it seems to be one voice with which their supporters respond and say, no, this is what thing, and you know what I mean? Or not respond. They say, all right, we're leaving this alone, we're not going to respond to that. And I don't know, that little voice note and that comment, which, to be honest with you, I am surprised that was not a much bigger story. It makes me wonder sometimes if they have some things that are just accepted as normal, or maybe I still have a little faith in a system that really have no big thing going on with it. Let me read what the Guardian say about it, right? A couple of days ago, Guardian reported as saying, Farley still silent on propaganda talk after 1 week. Tobago correspondent, this clip from Clayton Clark. Almost a week after an audio clip purporting to be 2 THA executive members discussing plans to hire people in the THA to promote political propaganda surfaced. And still no response from Chief Secretary Farley Augustine on the matter. Retired head of the Public Service Reginald Dumas had said if the dialogue did take place, then the people involved should demit office. Leader of the People's National Movement Tobago Council, Ansel Dennis, has called on Augustine and Secretary of Education Zorisha Hackett to resign. Dennis also wants fresh THA elections to be called as well. Good luck, Dennis. So there was a need for an election even before now, but at this time there's need for an election, and there's need for a new chief secretary. Listen, what's new? What's new must be sharp many chops here. Only Watson. If you Watson have a chance in Tobago, still might be doubtful, you know. But again, the idea that political parties have a organized, not just an organized propaganda machine. I think we'd be naive to think that they wouldn't. But it's the fake profile and the fake groups and them kind of things that you're hearing accusations of, rumors of for a long time. That'll bothersome to me, or very bothersome to me, actually. I mean, it's like we can't escape it. And maybe the thing to do is to just find ways to spend less time on social media. I mean, I come from a time where it is more common for people in my age group to hear something and do a little more research or read up a little more about it so that they could get a better understanding of it. And there will be an age group before my time who might see things on social media and not. Okay, so the other day my Facebook account get hacked, right? And it sent messages to people saying, look who got in a car accident and the person died, and I wouldn't believe it, and I linked it, right? Most of the people who are around my age group message back and say, oh, younger than me. Most of them didn't message, right? But for those who message, they say, hey, your account like it get hacked. You don't have a 2-factor notification. My boy Valdez say, hey, I sure you don't have a 2-factor notification. What are you doing? And it's easy for anybody to identify that is a hack. Whereas somebody who a little older might see something like that and click on it and compromise their own system, and it goes out to other people. Because a lot of people also message me to say, oh my God, I click in the link, but I'm not seeing it is who died. And I tell them, listen, why you click the link? This is obviously, you know what I mean? I wouldn't click anything like that. So, you know, when you look at the different age groups or the different people who born before the internet, people who born and the internet come while they was here, and then people who born after the internet, how we respond to social media might be markedly different. Because when I see certain Facebook groups, I just don't like a certain kind of talk and the harshness of some of the things and the name calling and the mudslinging. It's just turned me off. I can't listen to that for too long. So they have certain groups and certain pages that even if I follow, I will tune out. So like I remember I used to follow Marcia Brave Boy page, and After a while, I just couldn't take it no more. It was too crass and crude for me. I couldn't take it. I want to hear the issues. I tell Ole I can read, right? So hearing the issues from somebody is easier for me just hear. But oh God, boy, some of them are a little bit hard to digest, and I ain't here for nothing that will upset my day. So when you look at people who looking at that as what is the real world, you could see why I used to always say that we have a growing undecided voting population. And more people go into the polls based on issues. But I'm wondering if that is the case, if that will ever be the case, if this is a new, the internet is already very, very polarizing. Because the algorithms on most social media platforms designed to show you more of what you are interested in, or at least more of what will evoke some kind of emotion or response from you. Because if you're getting a response from it, that you're more likely to comment on something that gives you some kind of emotional response. You real agree with it or you real disagree with it. Those are the things that will cause comments and a stitch on TikTok, and people will, you know what I mean? That kind of thing is better for content. So it's already designed to be polarizing, which means if I am on one side of the fence on an issue, I could see more and more things that support my point of view. And the things that I see that support your point of view could be over the top ridiculous. And then getting me more upset, like how these people not seeing it. They must be corrupt, they must be wicked, they must be racist, they must be, it's already designed that way. And it making me wonder if more and more now the political process obviously will benefit from that, right? Because the more polarizing they could make their audiences, it's in their best interest to do that. That way people dig their heels in and never move, and they could play the fool and still get re-elected regardless of what has happened. But the propaganda machine come out. I guess we'll continue to watch and try to determine whether or not Valley respond or the whoever's the other person in THA respond. Or what y'all think? Y'all think you're hearing a response from them soon? You think they're working on a response from it? Or you think they tell the propaganda machine, oh God, only here was the scene, they find out about we. Or they have to double down on the work. We will get earlier, as the woman said, we get a lucrative position with our 8 to 4 work, and we go try to make sure you're good to go. Now, I have just one more issue to cover. It's a short week. I ain't getting on a set of long, heavy issues. But in the spirit of Indian Arrival Day, I would like to play, and also in the spirit of a happy birthday to one of the great ones in the art form, I just want to play our original version of a song. So the first song I'll play is with respect to Indian Arrival Day, in celebration of Indian Arrival Week. Like the whole week a damn holiday because I'm going to work anyway. And the second song I'll play is a happy birthday to a man who sang a tribute to the first man. How a song there? When last only I'll chat on
Kaise bani pulauri bina chutney kaise bani pulauri bina chutney kaise bani kaise bani kaise bani kaise bani kaise bani pulauri bina chutney kaise bani. I went Sunday to meet Lal Bihari. I went Sunday to meet Lal Bihari. I pull up the Khudari and Cheboti Dhari. Pulauri bina chutney kaise bani. Pulauri bina chutney kaise bani. Me and my darling was lying in a plane. Me and my darling was flying in a plane. The plane catch a fire and we fall inside the cave. Kaise bani, kaise bani, kaise bani, kaise bani. Pulauri bina chutney kaise bani.
say money. So if I play that, that is by the great Sundar Popo, right? Let me not be mistaken. Let us not be mistaken for any remixes and refixes. You know, they always say chutney artists, soca chutney artists in particular, is go Bollywood, go India, take traditional Bajan, and they come and they sing it here like it's a kaiso and a soca. I want you to know that it's also take the local songs and make over to, right? The version of Kaise Bani that you might listen to might be that one. But I also want to say happy birthday to the great Super Blue, the Aussie, great one. One of the greatest of all times, right? Easily. He had a concert in Kaiso Blues, a celebration and a birthday party in Kaiso Blues this week. I see a lot of artists came out and celebrate with them pretty, and there was there. I see Krokro. They have a little video going around of several artists on stage behind Super Blue, right? While he's singing hits, and all of them singing along with him. But Krokro looked very serious and very upset. I don't know if it's Krokro like Super Blue. I don't know if he don't like soca. I don't know what is the situation, but in the spirit of the happy birthday and in the spirit of the Indian arrival day, I had to play this one too. Hey, in closing off this week, I have something I want to talk about it only real quick, right? This is just between me and Ollie. Don't make nobody wise. Only see the article with Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade. I want to just get understanding, right? I ain't come to make no statement. I ain't come to make no contribution. I just want to ask questions and get understanding as to what is going on. Because in this Kevin Samuels and Andrew Tate world of high value man and high value woman and who overvalue and who undervalue, I don't understand what is happening. I need a little help. I need a little help understanding what is going on. So the story is this, right? Gabrielle Union in an interview recently came out and say that in our household, the bills is split 50-50, right? Keep in mind that she's married to Dwayne Wade, right? I want to do a little quick counting people pockets here. Let me see celebrity net worth. Dwayne Wade. Celebrity net worth. Let's see what his net worth is, right? Listed here as $170 million, right? Let me see Gabrielle Union, because this is real rich people problems you're talking about here, right? Because we not I don't know about you, but I not knowing this class and these kind of things. I don't have these kind of people bills. So Gabrielle Union net worth is $40 million, and Dwayne Wade is 170. That's $210 million worth of net worth between two of them, right? Now, you want to hear something? Those study nobody money, and those study what nobody have. Salute my boy Zachary, right? I'm proud of my son. My son went and get his orange belt this week, you know what I mean? Bad karate man now, right? I studied how I go discipline this man now, because this man has some back fist and thing working for him. I could be frightened. I don't want to get no back fist. I started to talk to him soft. But he graduated from yellow belt to orange belt. And Sensei Jacob, Ludwin Jacob, not Don Jacob, right? I think that's Don Jacob nephew, Ludwin Jacob. When he doing the belt ceremony, I hope I say the right thing, and they do their kata and they do their drill and they do their sparring and whatever, and they decide on who getting upgraded. He always just tell you, in his wise words, don't watch no man belt. He's tell that to the children and he's tell that to the parents all the time. Don't watch no man belt. Among all the wise things he's saying in them sessions, talking to parents and talking to children, because let me tell you something. You cannot go from yellow belt to orange belt or graduate from any belt or upgrade or whatever it is if your parents don't do a report about your behavior in school and your behavior to extracurricular activities and your respect for teachers and all. You cannot do it. They will not grade you. You'll remain a yellow belt regardless of how good your technique is, because martial arts is not just in the dojo, right? According to Sensei Jacob and Senpai. So out of all the wisdom and the things he talks about with youth and raising, he always talks about this. You need to grow up likable children. Be likable. It's important to know. And so when he in the mix all that say, don't watch no man belt. I just try to play that in my mind all the time. Don't watch no man belt. And I'm saying that to say, I don't watch no man belt. I don't watch no man car. I don't watch no man woman. I don't watch no man house. I glad for the little things I have. You see the things I have is big things to me. I have things now that I never thought I would see or accomplish in this life. I remember when I was building my house. At a point in time, I said, but wait, all I go have is a roof. I could never be able to build a house. I would never get paint. It feel impossible to me now. A house, I have a little dongle. I like that. I don't watch no man belt. And Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade is a good example of don't watch no man belt, because $210 million supposed to, I mean, you're independently wealthy there for generations. You're not going to have financial issues and so on. At $210 billion as a couple. But take into consideration that Jay-Z and Beyonce just buy a house for these two people whole net worth. They don't buy a house for $200 million. You understand? So, moral of the story, don't watch no man belt. Somebody could always outspend you. Somebody could always out good looks you. Somebody go out talk you, out smooth you, whatever you want to say, you will get out that. Right? So when I see these two people come out and at $40 million and at $110 million or whatever it was, 170, she said they split the bills 50-50. Well, boy, black women in the States went in an uproar. And I need to understand if Trinidadian women feel the same or what is the situation, like what it's supposed to be. How are we supposed to deal with bills in our household? How does it work out? If it's man or woman and somebody making significantly more. Because I hear a woman say something here. It's hard for me to understand it. And again, because I have a difficult time listening to some of these people and the internet rhetoric. I still am come and ask all about it, because there was a lady here by the name of Eboni K Williams, right, who very recently rise up to stardom in the news. Now, I know this woman because she used to be on a show called State of the Culture with Joe Budden, right? If you know my Joe Budden podcast fan. And when State of the Culture broke up, she was good. She was a lawyer and stuff. I guess she was a good contributor to the show, but of course I watching the show for Joe Budden. I find Joe Budden funny. He different. His takes tend to be a little different and he a little out there. He has his issues too, but at least he entertaining, right? But when they did the show together, it was a little dry. It wasn't the best show he was ever on or best show he ever did. But it eventually came off the air. It was a revolt show, and I guess it wasn't that popular. So they dropped the show eventually. And I remember Eboni K Williams coming out and talk about Joe Budden, how Joe Budden he ghosted her. That's what she said. He was her co-host, and when this thing done, she couldn't get back on time and all that kind of thing. And he basically coming on the show and is like, well, why? The job is over, the gig done. What exactly you calling me for? No, Joe Budden don't look like an easy character to deal with, right? But I understand him too. If we was working together and I don't stay in contact with you, that's supposed to be some kind of indictment on my character, and that becoming newsworthy on the blogs. You know, it's just a new era we living in. Yes, it's me. You know, the problem is me. I had to get used to this era that we living in. But she floated back to the top of the news again recently when she came out and said on a Ileana Van Zandt show. She was complaining about how difficult it is to get men that are up to her level, high value men then, because she doing well. Let me see where's Eboni K Williams' net worth. Let me see if it's Gabrielle Union levels. Eboni K Williams. First husband. I mean, she take a little divorce, you know what I mean? She live a little bit of life. This is the other problem I was having. I just think everybody is my age. If when you pay your thing, Celebrity Net Worth do come up next date one time, they're telling a story already. All right, Celebrity Net Worth $3 million. She's an American attorney and television host. Was a net worth of $3 million. Now, I wake up tomorrow with $3 million US as the happiest man alive. I done work. You know, next podcast out of me. It's the end. Punto final. You have to call me for my opinion. And you might get ghosted like how Joe Budden ghosted this woman. But she came to stardom again recently when on that Liliana Van Zandt show, she was complaining about not being able to get men and men intimidated by high-earning women and so on. And Liliana said, Eboni, would you date a bus driver? And she, in a flippant way, said, if he owns the bus. And Ileana being an older woman who see a lot and, you know what I mean, experience plenty in life and make her own mistakes and build her own story over the years, you know what I mean? She said, but what about if the man is an honest man who treats you well and he loves his mother and he takes care of his children? And I find it sound like it makes some sense, right? I find it sound like it makes sense. Now I being naive, right? Because me ain't know what it is and I ain't know high value and me ain't know 3 million and them kind of thing, but I hate to end up having to channel Kevin Samuels and Andrew Tate to make any kind of point, but I think if you high achieving and high net worth, like $3 million is your net worth and stuff, and you decide that if you look at the Gabrielle Union ratio, he's about 4 times her money, right? So that means she should start looking for somebody. If I had 3 million, you should start looking for somebody who's 12 and up. It makes sense. If that is what you want to do, you do that with your life. You go ahead and look for somebody who with 12 and upwards, or somebody with 100 or $1 billion, or all well and good. You go and look for where you want to. Who the hell is me to tell you shouldn't want that out of a relationship? My humble opinion is that for me personally, right, I have to be able to afford the lifestyle that I want to live. I have to be able to afford it on my own, solo mio. If I can't afford it on my own, I have to cut back my lifestyle to suit what happening in my household. That's just how I live. I don't know how to live any different. I never get no manual or no blueprint on what I'm supposed to do. But if I live in a certain lifestyle and I looking for a woman, I go and me and somebody get together, I'm not sure how early in that meeting, and I tell me if I'm being naive, I'm not sure how early in that encounter I'm saying, girl, how much money you making, girl? You ain't making no money. You own a bus. I'm not sure that I'm having that conversation at all. I'm kind of more interested in how you treat me, how you make me feel. You know what I mean? Where is like a Gabriel situation with you? You out and about. You for the streets. What is going on with you? What's your philosophy about raising children? How you deal with that? You know what I mean? What's your philosophy if you end up mashing up? If you end up divorcing and going? What's your philosophy? They're like, how you and your mother's deal? How you and your family? Or they like little parang. That's what I like. You know what I mean? I want to see when I bring you around my family, how you just move. When you're with my friends, how you moving. I plenty more interested in them things in terms of my dating life and things back in the day. That is the things that used to either turn me on or off about people. But again, we poor, right? We're the poor braids, we're the povers. I don't know nothing about this world that they live in, where you could simply say, if he only boss, you didn't ask anything about the man character again. Fast forward to today, Gabrielle Union come and say she paying 50% of the bills. She didn't sound to me like she was complaining. She was struggling. She did say she deals with anxiety about her next role because financially she wants to. It sounded to me like she was talking more about her ambitions, right? Meaning that if she making 40 million, tell me something, you wouldn't like to make more money now? I would. And I would assume that people who make 40 million might still want to say, okay, I want to hit a certain goal. I want to be at 100 million by the NX. Kevin Hart is money, 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 right? If I put Kevin Hart net worth here, he talks openly about his ambition to be a billionaire, to be the first billionaire comedian, for what it means to be a black youth who come out from the streets of Philadelphia, or from the hood, not the streets, but the hood in Philadelphia, and make it as far as he made it. And also to be able to, well, show people an example. He had 450 million and have all the ambition in the world. Waking up earlier in the morning than me and working out, you know what I mean? Doing several different gigs. I struggling to keep up with the gigs I have. He doing several of them at a high level. So people have ambition, and it sounded to me like that's what Gabrielle Union was trying to say. Like, you know, I have worries and I have anxiety over my next job. I published my first episode for the Conspiracy of Goodness. I was anxious like hell. Like the episode out now, right, is with Seth Godin. Go and take it in. But I was anxious. I'm hoping it go well. I'm trying my best to make a good impression and do a good job. I believe in the cause of the organization. These are, to me, normal issues that anybody would have. It didn't sound like if she was saying, boy, I broke because this man making me pay half the bills and I'm struggling. But Eboni K Williams finds herself in the middle of this again because she basically saying splitting bills. She had an issue with splitting bills. You had to listen to this for yourself, right? You might make better sense of this than me.
The bills. I'm going to make it personal. Are you going to split the bills with a man who made more than $200 million during his NBA career, but you too are also a multimillionaire? What do you think?
Right. So even if I were a millionaire, I'm going to just be straight up. I'm not giving a man his change. Okay. Under no circumstances am I giving a man money. If it's payday and they ask me to pass out the paychecks, somebody else is going to have to give the men theirs, because under no circumstances am I giving a man money. And that's just where I stand on that.
Well, I think you know how I feel about it. And yeah.
They went on to talk about this is from Hollywood Unlocked, right? I don't want to take too much of the people content. You know what I mean? Go and check Hollywood Unlocked and see the conversation between these two people. Is this other lady who's talking, is her name Ariella Anise? Ariella Anise? You see, I turning on your leaf in life, you know, because I want you to Google Ariella Anise, right? Ariella Anis. I tell you, I working with people on Conspiracy of Goodness and thing. I listened to the Seth Godin episode, and he was talking about, you know, being true to people and having purpose in life and thing. And he must not say mean things about people, right? But she's not nice, you know what I mean? She's not nice. I don't know how to say it again. I try my best to find good words, right? But I trying to figure out, like, why is this an issue? Why? How you? So you just coming out and say you're not giving a man money and you ain't getting a man any change? You're ashamed. You're ashamed. My grandmother says you're ashamed in your eye. What's going on with you? What? I don't understand this mentality and them kind of thing. It's very odd to me. I would think that if I'm making $40 million, my first thing, especially if I get going to marry and I'm looking for somebody to make my thing, money is not a problem. Money not gonna be an issue. I don't have much. And I don't make money no issue. You know what I mean? If we're struggling and we think, we try and we cut back. I hope not to be in a position where we fighting up to make ends meet every month. That's a difficult position to be in. And most households, if you're not at the $3 and $4 and $5 million level, then independently wealthy, you're probably doing some kind of split in the bills. I mean, if let me say I was Dwayne Wade and I was 170 million, I would probably say, no, I could pay the bills, and it's not a problem. You could hold your money. I will probably offer to do that and take care of all the bills. And I don't understand why we are assuming that Dwayne Wade didn't do that. These people, I don't know if we understand the kind of wealth people have. And it seems as though even people at 3 million don't even understand what wealth really is. It's like, why would he be worried about bills? I think is the last thing on his mind. he retire as an NBA player, still have a lot of value that he could extract just in appearances, or I'm not sure what else he's do outside of, commentate or anything like that. But it's like the conversation is confused me. First, the reaction in the comments to her paying half the bills, as if there's some kind of an issue. If she wants to pay half the bill, I would think that she paying half the bills because she's saying, nah, here what? Everything is 50-50 in this marriage. You do 50-50 and you go down the road 50-50, because if we divorce now, I'm going to take 50% away you have anyway, you know what I mean? But the thing, I don't know if they sign prenup and all those things, or she's just a woman who, regardless of what she wants to pull her own weight, I don't see where the issue is. I don't see this vitriol as if doing it. Say you have to pay half. If you ain't pay half, light cutting. I don't know. I don't know why we're assuming that is the case. But I find it even more egregious and annoying when you have women who having these kind of conversations openly, saying that even if I'm a multimillionaire and not even giving a man his change, what? And you ain't even looking good. If you look good, if you're very good looking, I don't want to change. But if you're not so easy on the eyes, I want every cent. I want to see every. Give me more coppers on them. I want every cent back. I don't understand it. It's just a weird situation with these youths. I remember in my young days going to cinema without a girl. I think the girl name was Roma back in the day. I wonder if that Roma from today. But a Guyanese girl, right? Now, did I tell the story last week? I feel like I talked about this already. And when I reached in the cinema, she come with some friends. Now I have my money to pay for my data because, again, I had to be able to afford the lifestyle I live in. I can't do the $200 date thing. If I going out with you, I'm making sure I have little extras. And the little extras I had, by the time I hear what the friends order, because I get frightened, I remember going in the later time and I walk up to some hot girl. And I say, what is the scene? I'm trying to gain me and my boy Damien. I say, hey, what's the start to talk? Well, we inside now. So I say, so what are you drinking? Now I order 100. And when the girl say Broncos is over, it's over. We not even having that discussion no more. I don't walk off. And somebody who could afford Broncos, go and get all a high value man who could afford Broncos, and then I can't buy them kind of thing. Mocha Tika and these kind of drinks. This is beyond my pay grade. But it's just how difficult things for me to understand. And also the men, young men in the States who is be talking about woman this and woman wicked, and they're looking for these. If Eboni K Williams looking for thing and you looking for Eboni K Williams, I think sometimes as young men you have to accept that certain people out of your league, there's certain people you're not going to be able to compete with. Certain, do you want to track the same girl that Marcos is tracking? What? And I pull up in my B12 back in the day and Marcos pull up in a Range Rover. Do you want that for yourself? Also, why would you be interested in somebody who's saying flatly that they're not even giving you a change? That tells me something about you studying the bus driver, owning the bus, study your own character poor. Your own way of living and your own way of seeing the world poor. Where you think you're going to attract? You done not nice. You've done not nice. Try and be nice and look good and thing and let people like you. Anyway, before I get out of here, in the spirit of the thing, because these youths and them on money, and I had to grow my platform to get 2,000 a person to be able to pick up some money. You know what I mean? I had to grow my platform, and so if all you on money, let me take in a few money calypso now before this week out. This is the great singing Francine. And you know you can't leave without playing this, right?
Hey, Baba. Whoa, whoa. Yeah. Ivy pack up, she closed to leave because John was down and out. All alone he was left to grieve. She had an ex-man in South. She said, openly, I really love you, Johnny, but you ain't have no money. So what will my future be even though you love me?
We can't love without money. We can't love woman like Eboni.
Johnny, you'll be the only one I am dreaming of. You're my turtle dove, but no money, no love. Bam, 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 bam. Whoa, 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 mama. Yeah, 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 yeah. Find some money, Johnny. Whipper. If you hear how we plead with she to get you to understand, listen, mister, she tell Johnny, let go me blasted hand and make up your mind. We got to break up this lime. She said poverty is a crime. You got no money, still you're tangling me all the blinking time. We can't love without money. We can't love on hungry belly. Johnny, you'll be the only one I am dreaming of. You're my turtle dove, but no money, no love. Whoa, 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 gentlemen, let me tell you plain. She say I don't want to make a scene, but if you only touch me again, the police will intervene. You ain't got a cent. I couldn't even pay me rent. I had to give up my apartment. You give me nothing to eat, now you want me to sleep on the pavement. We can't love without money. No, we can't make love on hungry belly. Johnny, you'll be the only one I am dreaming of. You're my turtle dove, but no money, no love.
Love without money. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Can't make love on hungry belly. Johnny, you'll be the only one I am dreaming of. You're my turtle dove, but no money, no love. I could play one of my favorite money songs for you. I could break the format a little bit. Long time I didn't break the format, you know.
Ay, 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 ay. I'm on the worries. I'm on the trouble. Ay, 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 ay. I'm on the worries. I'm on the trouble. Anywhere you go, it's the same cry. Money worries, money worries, money worries, money trouble. Anywhere you go, it's the same cry. Money worries, money worries, money worries, money trouble. To have a comfortable place of rest, or a nice car to drive.
Yes. money worries. I'm money troubles. Listen, can I play for you before I go? The greatest song ever written about money in the history of songs?
I'm moving my body when I sing.
Oi. Boy, oi.
You got to teach me, Mr. Trini, how to get that swing. Oi. Put a cent piece in your left pocket,
5 cents in your right,
10 cents in your back pocket,
safely out of sight.
in front, under your bed, stick a dollar. Now count if you want to learn. I explain to her. Cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, dollar. Cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, dollar. Come again. Cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, dollar. Cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, dollar. She says she don't like the pace. We going too slow. She wants to walk up to waist, so raise the tempo. Cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, dollar. 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 When I thought she had enough and she can't take the grind, she ball. Forget the small change, give me big money wine. Dollar, 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 dollar. Give me dollar, give me dollar, give me dollar, give me dollar, dollar. Give me dollar, 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 dollar. Give me dollar, give me dollar.
Hey, listen, it's a short week here and it's a short week in the States. Happy Indian Arrival Day, happy Memorial Day. Only have a good week, have a safe week. As the people say, any goodness exchange, try and do some good. Do some good for yourself, do some good for some people, you know what I mean? Make the place a better place, you know what I mean? We come together, we get some laughs, we talk some serious thing, but most importantly, we had to leave this place better than we meet it. When Colin Lucas write this, you think he know it would be such a big hit?
She said to me, oi, oi, oi. All the time you're moving your body, sweet and sexy. Oi, oi, oi. I hear that your hip movement is really called a wine. I don't mess with alcohol, but that wine is fine. I love the way you sing, throwing waist like rain. Right now, I want to learn, so show me again. Cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, dollar. Cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, dollar. Looking good. Cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, dollar. Yes. Cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, dollar. She says she don't like the pace. We going too slow. Like she want me rock up my waist and raise the tempo. Cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, dollar. 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 When I thought I showing off and she can't stand the grind, she ball.
Forget the small change.
Give me big money, wine, wine. Dollar, 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 dollar. Give me dollar, 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 give me dollar.
You know what somebody do for me? I want somebody sit down and listen to this tune from an accountant. Somebody with an accountant. Sit down and listen to this tune from my time. How much money the tune come up to in the end? I plenty money passing out through the Marcos level. Well, it's never a safe week. Have a good week. Or have a good time. And I will see you all in next week. I rest my foot, you know, I'm doing the right thing. I'm staying off the football field. I'm looking for healing. And I'm accepting all prayers and positive energy coming my way. But till then, I'll have a good week. Bye.